You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 86. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
I'm Jeff Barnhart, a slow-witted monosyllabic cohort. Jeff like comics. They funny.
So the first book we're going to talk about this episode is Superman number 223. And the lead story is, actually the only story, is called Half a Hero. Written by Cary Bates, with art by Kurt Swan, and inked by George Roussos.
Oh. Yep. Definitely, I know this is a Silver Age. It's really the Bronze Age for me, of Superman books.
Right.
I mean, I'm not talking about
the very late 60s. There's kind of a transitionary period with Superman. It's kind of like, meh.
I'm talking about quality.
Yeah.
I know that Silver Age is time centered and all that, but yeah, this is not my favorite Superman. They're not bad. I enjoyed them, but it's a sort of they're kind of hokey as old ones, but not as much charm or something going on.
Right.
I'm not sure what it is.
I think it's the the wonderful gimmicky hokey Superman stories had kind of run their course.
Mm-hmm.
And
although this has got a heck of a gimmick.
Yes, it's true. And then let's dig in.
Okay, Clark Kent is drinking a cup of coffee in a restaurant, and he noticed, the chandelier is about to fall down, so he fuses it with his heat ray. And the secretary, waitress comes by and says, "Thank you, Superman. Come again." How does she know that I'm Superman?
Mm-hmm.
So, next panel, they go see this folk rock singer who's everyone loves. Ooh, a touch is here. That's nothing. I pulled out a strand. Poor folk rock singers.
Right.
And this one girl is looking straight as Superman. Clark Kent, excuse me, and says in her normal voice, but Lois, who's with Clark, cannot hear that. Hey, Superman, how's it going? So,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes to see a movie and a Superman in it, and the usher. Man, do they still wear the usher uniforms back then?
I don't know.
never seen that
in
real life. But saying, "Hey, you look terrific on film, Superman." So Superman has no idea how these girls are seen through his disguises.
Right.
So he's walking by, and then he's sucked up in a spaceship.
Yeah. And he's as Clark Kent, okay? That's important.
Right.
So, and they zap his outer clothes and reveal that, he's Superman.
That is kind of a cool thing. I like
Yeah.
his clothing zapped off. His glasses are flying off.
Yeah.
And he says, "Great Krypton," which I've always liked that.
Yeah. And so these chicks are, as they say anyway, they're part of an intergalactic super team of superpowered chicks, and they want to have their first male member to join their team, and they're going to test Superman, have him do super feats.
Yeah. And it's cool they're wearing harem pants, very filmy.
Right.
Yes.
With cool go-go boots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but does this...
Galactons is their name.
The Galactons is the name of their team. So, pause. Doesn't this remind you of anything else in Superman's history?
Oh, when he joined the
Legion.
Legion.
When the Legion first went back in time, in the time bubble, and to Smallville, they appeared as regular kids and like, "Hey, Superboy," and he was freaking out. And then they introduced themselves and then put him to all those tests.
Yeah.
Classic story, and this is paralleling that, on purpose, I'm sure.
Yeah, not as classic, but
no.
Oh, so they're showing
not by
off
a mile.
Yeah, they're showing off their superpower. One of them flies. One of them rides Galactons with their heat ray vision, and one of them picks up a table.
As if that's the thing, right?
Yeah, well, I'm sure Superman's impressed. So you got a suit. Did you want to join the first non-female member of our Galactons? You got to wrestle this. What in the world is a Mumox? Which is
right. It's just a goofy-looking animal. It's kind of like somewhere between a bull and a bison, but it's also alien-looking and stuff.
With 5 horns.
Yeah.
So he has to ride and tame it. So the Momox knocks him off and then blows super weird
Gas or breath or something on him.
And he's knocked out. So they say, "Oh, you lost." But bad news, this mist from the Momox will makes it deadly for you to go out the solar system anymore. You cannot go to any sun that's not a red sun.
Right.
So that
or not a yellow sun.
And that kind of ticks him off because that's half his job.
Well, right. He can't. It's like, oh, I can only be Superman on Earth. Yeah. So he's super pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So he's really mad, and then said, "Cheer up, Superman." This is the editor. Things could be a lot worse, and they will be very soon.
Yeah. All right. So we get into the next part of this story. Oh, do you want to talk about these house ants? This is great.
No, I didn't even look at this. Bob Frontier, DC Special.
Yeah, so the DC Special did an all-Western thing, which,
Yeah.
and then we have an ad for a giant Batman, it's not an annual, but it's just some reprinting some classic stories. What does it say? The secret files are open to the most unusual Batman stories. And what is the first one here?
The Wind from Nowhere. The Hand from Nowhere. The League Against Batman. The Body in the Batcave.
Right.
The Wrecker.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So back to Superman.
Okay. Superman goes back to work at the Daily Planet. He's with Perry White and a let's see, robot SX6.
One of Superman's robots.
Yeah. Okay. He's got to talk to Superman, so he becomes a boot black.
Oh, a shoe shine fella. A boot black?
Yeah, you never heard it called that? I think it's an English term.
Yeah, I think I may have like once, but okay.
Yeah, okay. So the robot is doing Perry's shoe, and he does it with super speed, and
he burns up his shoe.
Yeah, and Perry's not happy.
All right.
So the robot tells Clark about this emergency, and Clark noticed when he made the robot that he was kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But he thought he'd give him a chance. And then he says, report to the fortress until further notice. And then he thinks, till I can scrap you. Wow.
Yeah.
That was kind of cold, man.
Yeah, and there's but he's just a robot. You have to think. It's not like he's really a person. But it's
the uncanny valley where a person... a robot looks so much like a human that it's weird and you don't feel good about it.
Right.
It's called the Uncanny Valley. And
it's new to me. Interesting.
Yeah. Google it.
I will.
There's a wiki in it, but
Uncanny Valley. I'll look that up.
But and honestly, that's one of his iRobot stories is about robots
those are
that
great.
people, they're inanimate objects, but you still have affection for them.
Well, and because it's like pets, we anthropomorphize them so much, and if it's an object that's literally anthropomorphized, why, even if it doesn't have emotion, you are going to, if it does anything that seems like that, you're going to attribute, those stuffs to them.
Yeah,
my words disappeared, but
yeah, he is. No, Superman has his rights to destroy it, and it's not. But it just felt odd looking.
Right. So then a giant hypodermic needle comes from space and shoots crystals into the Earth.
Oh man!
Which is so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just. So Superman checks it out. He destroys its syringe because these crystals are going to take over. It's like a cancer.
Right.
So it's going to eventually just blow up the Earth. So then the three girls from Galactons come down and help. Supposedly the X-ray vision will destroy it because X-rays will sometimes destroy cancer.
Okay.
So, which, just because something acts like a cancer doesn't mean it's a cancer, but it works. So then Superman goes, you're actually Supergirl and 2 Kandorian girls. Which is okay. Here's the goofball part of it, okay, as it wasn't goofy enough. It's a scheme in Kandor, the bottle city of Kandor.
Yeah.
These crystals are about to destroy it. So they wanted to keep Superman away, but they want to have Superman figure out a way to fix it. So they don't get to tell Superman the reason why they did the entire thing about the red sun and all that stuff is a lie.
Okay.
So they're going to explain to why they don't want Superman to go to Kandor, but he goes for they can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes to Kandor, he has no superpowers.
Right.
So he cannot use his X-ray vision. And the way he got in, he's got to take a couple days when he get back out, so he's stuck.
Right. And there's something that has to do with the Phantom Zone in this also.
Right.
So he goes. There's a Phantom Zone criminal who's the perfect guy who can solve this problem. What's his name?
Gornu.
That's right, Gornu. And so he's like, Gornu, look, we can work on a pardon or something for you if you can come out and save Kandor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
We also get to see a brief cameo by Cruel and Jaxer,
mm-hmm.
who are at this point really more important as Phantom Zone criminals than General Zod.
Huh.
He's really didn't become the bigger deal kind of until later.
Until the movies, maybe?
Maybe.
We have a Lois Lane. I portrayed Superman. She cuts off a piece of Superman's hair. But she looks like Delilah.
Right.
And then Jimmy Olsen finds Superman dead on the moon.
Wow.
That's a kind of a really well done drawing.
Yeah, I like the cover. That's cool. Maybe we'll get to look at that sometime.
Yeah.
So, Gornu is gonna help Superman.
And it's Gornu's fault altogether because it's something he left in one of his hidden laboratories.
Okay.
So he knows how to fix it. So Gornu says, if you change bodies to me, and then you go back into the Phantom Zone and I get freedom, I will save it.
Okay. So Superman agrees because he's Superman.
Yeah, and Kandor is about to die.
Right.
And so Gornu fixes it, and then Superman figures out how to get away with it. How does he do this? So they switch bodies, and then they find out Superman, who is now Gornu, has some kind of weird cancer. Is poisoned.
Right. He poisoned his body himself that his mind would know the antidote for. Mm-hmm. So there was no way that Gornu would want to stay in the dying body.
Right.
And then so they switch back, and then Superman cures himself.
Yeah.
And sends Gornu back to the Phantom Zone.
And then the irony is, if Gornu had not done that, he probably would have been let out of the Phantom Zone. Right.
If he'd have just played it straight and helped them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that's that issue. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad. It was kind of a poser. I really.
It's like it was pretending so hard to mine the tropes of the Silver Age,
mm-hmm.
which it still technically is. I mean, what year is this? It's it's 1970, so you can say yes or no on that, but it kind of fails.
Mm-hmm.
It's Cary Bates, and he's real hit or miss. Usually miss with Superman.
Yeah,
he's good on Justice League though, and the Flash.
It's too See, there's complex stories and there's complicated stories. Complicated is not good. And then when I have to think about why are they trying to do this and this stupid Galactons thing, why don't you just say what's going on? And I don't know. It's sort of.
Because why we had half the story dealing with this fake Galactons thing, and then we get to the real thing, like in the last act,
right?
And that was kind of rushed, yeah. So it's crummy, but the next Superman issue we've got to read is a real humdinger. This is awesome. I loved this, and yes, it's an imaginary story.
Yeah.
It's Superman number 224, and the story is Beware the Super Genius Baby, written by Robert Conagher. With art penciled by Kurt Swan and inked by George Roussos. So this is a winner.
Yeah, man, but I was really relieved when I found out it was just imaginary.
Right?
Yeah,
I don't want this to have implications on my life.
indeed.
So what's going on?
All right,
Superman
hey,
is married to Lois Lane, and they are going to have a baby.
it's imaginary stories about 9/10 of them, or it's his marriage or having a kid.
Yeah.
At least in our experience, it seems.
I'll tell you right now, we've got an 80-page giant of Superman stuff, and it's all super baby, super taut type of stories.
I like them all.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. So
Lois Lane gets in trouble. Yeah.
yeah.
And she's driving by this high octane. Oh, it's the company's name is High Octane, and it says warning, high octane.
Oh, thanks for cluing us in.
Yeah. And so it blows up, and she's about to burn up, and Superman comes and finds out that the molecular shield serum he brought back from Star Gamma X worked, and it made her invulnerable to any injury, which is why he married her.
Right.
So
There's
we
a,
get,
we got these goofball mad scientists. The guy with the crazy hair.
mm-hmm.
But they're
Another
plotting.
guy with no hair. So
Right. But
they
they're
should have got a happy medium. But
right. But we can tell them apart really well.
But I don't know their names.
It doesn't matter. They're
No.
just generic enemy because their plan is what's really important. They're doing something to sabotage Lois's pregnancy,
Yeah.
which is really low.
Yeah, it is.
That's just vile.
Mhm.
But they do, and Lois is pregnant. She's happy, but something happens. They've subjected her secretly to some process that will make the baby weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of shadow work on this. It's kind of cool. I just noticed it right
Rousas did some really good inking. There's some panels that, on this page in particular, that are kind of Wally Wood-like.
now. Yeah, and I had never seen Superman in his uniform without his boots on,
Yeah,
and
well,
he forgets them. So I think the machine is really messing him up. So Lois wants a girl, so her first thing she says is Mama, and Clark or Superman wants a boy, so the first words be Dada.
right, and then so they're just imagining like, oh, we're gonna have kids. That's nice. I guess.
So Professor Olbo, we finally see a name.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad I know that now. All right. Superman is up in outer space in a Telstar, which is
Like a satellite.
One of the first satellites to beam images,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a really cool, is it Ventures song, Telstar?
Oh, the Ventures.
Yeah, I think it's no words. It's a
Instrumental.
instrumental.
Yeah, well, I know. I remember hearing them. I think that weren't they all instrumental, the Ventures?
Yeah, and
Okay.
they're really cool. I think it's
Yeah.
maybe somebody else. I don't know.
I think I know who you're talking about, though. But anyway.
Yeah. So Apollo is about to hit the Apollo rocket. Is about to hit the Telstar, and Superman rides the Telstar as the rocket goes past. So,
Okay.
looks like no one is actually. No, they barely. The rocket looks vaguely like the Saturn V's, but they should have done a little bit better, I think. I don't know. Because everyone knows what they look like. And you're drawing something that everybody knows what it looks like, and you name it. Like you name a Chevrolet, a car, and everyone knows what the Chevrolet car looks like. You ought to get it kind of correct. And
Sure.
It just looks sloppy looking. I don't know. So this delays Superman, and then he comes home and...
Lois has had the baby.
Yeah, but he's kind of weirded out.
Right, we don't see the baby right away.
And he doesn't show anybody. Everyone brings him gifts and all that stuff, but why don't we see the baby? And Clark doesn't say anything.
Right, and then we revealed the baby. The baby is super intelligent with a big old brain, and he's a turd.
Yep. Is anything worse than a brat? Oh, here's a model drawing of the Saturn V. They could have had it drawn like this. I mean, they could look in their own magazine and
Well,
see.
here's the thing. Kurt Swan's not looking at the ad copy while he's drawing this in advance. But yeah, this baby is like, yeah, it's super intelligent, but he's a douchebag.
And it's really bad. I mean, it's an ugly head.
Yeah,
it's really
it's
enlarged,
gross looking.
It's not cool like when Superman gets super brainy.
Right.
He's got a ridge, and it's just, man, what a nasty tot he is.
Yeah, he's just basically putting down Lois and Superman like constantly for being morons.
Yeah. So he doesn't want baby food; he wants a steak.
Yeah.
And then he gets mad because it's not rare enough. And so he takes his super baby takes Superman to a place where they can exchange bodies, and it's Superman is like a little kid, and Super Baby is this big, huge guy. It's kind of a cool picture, actually.
Yeah, it is. That would have been actually a great splash page, to be honest, or panel.
Yeah.
But
so, all right, the two bad guys has made a playground for the baby.
Right.
So the baby used his intelligence to figure out how to take over the world, I guess.
Right. Because what else are you going to do? He's so bored already.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, he makes fun of Einstein and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's see. Here's a hurricane hits, almost knocks over a
lighthouse.
Fixes the light. Superman fixes the lighthouse, and then he's got here's a city which can stop, but if I move the hurricane, it'll sink this ocean liner.
So Superman creates like a thunderclap or whatever.
That is, he gets radioactive materials or some kind of materials, and he makes a clean atomic explosion.
Yeah.
And actually, scientists have thought about this, and someone said, "Well, why don't we use atomic bomb itself?" It says, all you get is a radioactive hurricane. It would not do anything.
Right.
Which is kind of impressive how powerful a hurricane is.
Right.
So, Super Baby tells Superman that if you had gone 20 feet higher, you would have destroyed the Earth.
Wow.
So now Superman is worried about messing up.
Right.
And he doesn't have any confidence. Because, what you can do, if you do something wrong and destroy the world, that's kind of bad.
That's pretty heavy,
Okay, so the bad guys have sent a gift to the baby. It's of all things,
a jigsaw
puzzle. And when they put it together, it's a bunch of nothing.
But then the baby shows Superman that there is a secret panel on every piece and you push this thing and it becomes like a picture of this house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. So, it's very complicated.
Right.
So Super Baby escapes, goes to the bad guys, and then takes over.
Right.
So, he's got this, for a Super Baby genius, he's got a stupid idea of charging $1,000 per plane to take off.
Right.
And we'll just walk then. What are you going to do?
Well, and it's like, here's the thing. It's like always like, what does Superman or Super Baby in this case need with money? He can have everything because he's so powerful physically.
Right.
But but crime seems like it's more like fun than anything because he's exerting his power over others.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so
Superman is basically forced into to choose to fight his own baby.
Yeah, and he does it with kryptonite.
But then nothing happens because the baby had, in spare time, moments actually, created a kryptonite antidote, and so it's only harmful to Superman still.
So the Super Baby wants to get up with his father and rule the world, universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Super Baby collapses because Superman in the jigsaw puzzle put this gas cerebral neutralizers.
Right.
And turns the baby into just a regular Super Baby.
Right. And so he stops being awful, and the end, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, he had the cure for kryptonite, and he's now just a regular baby, so he doesn't have it anymore.
Right.
But
so
he does say Dada.
Right, but that's right.
Instead of Mama. So.
The Super Baby created the cure for kryptonite, but didn't reveal it to Superman in time, so he didn't get that. So he's still vulnerable to it. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, some cool old.
As backup pages in this, there's like, hey, here's start a Superman scrapbook, and there's like serialized reprinting of Superman's origin from Action Comics #1, and then we also get reproductions of some classic Superman and Jimmy Olsen covers.
Yeah, and the first Superboy, first Jimmy Olsen, first Lois Lane. That's really, really cool.
Yeah,
and
I've read all those. Those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and
the Giant Superman annual with Super Baby, Lois Lane, Superboy, Jimmy Olsen, Crypto, Supergirl, Jor-El, Lana Lang, Lori Mermaid, and Perry White. What a great cast! And they have his boss on the cover.
Yeah,
but Perry White's kind of cool. Lana
he
Lang
is pretty
really cool, and I love Jimmy Olsen, of course. And that's really.
Yeah, there's some wild stuff in that Silver Age.
That's the first Giant Superman annual, 1960.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
Great time.
Yeah.
Great time. So
I enjoyed that. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
I found that to be an enjoyable read. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So our last book for today, it's called Blazing Six Guns, and this is issue number 2. Couple things about this. This is the second and last issue of this series. And it's from a company called Skywald. I think it's Skywald Publishing or whatever. Yeah. And Skywald was known for, Warren magazines. They had Famous Monsters of Filmland, Creepy, Eerie, and Vampirella. And those were popular, and they were magazine-sized black and white comics. Except for Famous Monsters. It's just a magazine. But Skywald had a fairly successful line that basically was doing the same thing. They had Nightmare, Psycho, Scream, and maybe one or two others, and these were these black and white horror mags. They kind of got popular in the 60s and 70s. But they briefly brought out a traditional standard comic book line in color and in the comic book size. Basically, they just did a handful of westerns and like a jungle comic. And they didn't take off, so they just kind of came and went, kind of fly by night, at least their comic line. And their comic format was it's a double-sized comic, or it's oversized as far as page count goes, and with a new lead story, and then all the backup material are reprints of like stuff from, I think, Avon Comics was a company that existed in the 40s and 50s, and so yeah, that's kind of the deal with this. So, but our lead story, which is the only new material presented in this, is called Ride the Raging River, written by Len Wein and penciled by Dick Ayers, inked by John Tartaglione. And this is starring the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, this is a few years after Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid movie came out, and I guess they're trying to get... Sundance Kid actually existed. He was a criminal. Famous. I guess he was a nice guy.
I don't know. I don't know so much about him. So
yeah. All I know is about the movies. So,
right.
And got shot in Argentina, I think. So
sure.
So we have Sundance Kid riding his horse Buckshot, and he's being chased by a posse. And they fall into the river, which they did in the movies as well, but not with the horse. So he thinks he's dead, and the posse thinks he's dead, but he's rescued and is on a riverboat.
Yeah.
By this, we got a cast of characters. Got this guy named Dollar and a guy named Jubal Slate. He's a banker, and asks Sundance his name, and he says, "Oh, it's Kidder. I'm in the banking business as well." Yeah.
Oh, he's kidding, all right. So,
but Dollar saved him, but he just looks after himself, he says. So they play some cards, and then they get robbed by Slate.
Yeah, Jubal Slate.
Got a bunch of guys come in and beat the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, it's like your typical Western barroom brawl, but it's on like a stern-wheeler riverboat, which is cool.
Yeah. But they get their butts kicked. So, alright. This is kind of complicated. Or it's kind of stupid, rather.
Okay.
They take the people off. They take them down the road. He takes the riverboat. I'm not sure why he wants the riverboat. Why not just get off and leave?
Right.
Because if you're on a river, there's only two ways you can go. So,
Right.
So he leaves the passengers out. Then he has Sundance Kid watched over by this other guy, one of his gang members, and kept separate. And well, why not shoot him? But I guess he's, well, then that'd be the end of the comic.
Right.
But I don't know. Why not just tie them up, leave them on the boat, and cast the boat off, and then someone will notice that and they'll free them. And you get your, I don't know why this convoluted thing, why leave somebody behind and then go off and then come back and pick them up?
Right.
And it just, I don't know. I guess it's up to do the plot.
Yeah.
So Sundance is trying to get away from the guy, the gang member, and Dollar shows up again. Yay!
Yeah.
So they chase off after this steamboat, and Dollar says he's up to himself, but he just looks after himself. But I guess he's really a nice guy anyway.
Because he comes back to help Sundance, which is kind of cool. Because Jubal Slate's a real slime ball.
Yeah. So they get on this cliff and jump off the cliff onto the boat, which is on their horses.
Oh, man.
Which is one of the stupidest things ever.
It's a good way to kill your horse and yourself.
Mm-hmm. And make a hole in the boat.
Right, but it looks cool in a comic, so win.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's a super horse.
Maybe Comet, the super horse.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
His origin was so bizarre. It was unbelievable. He was like a centaur that traded... Remember, he turned himself into a horse, and he wanted to turn into a man.
Wow.
And it was so weird. I have to look it back up.
Weird and Superman? Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe the weirdest thing that ever happened to Superman, though. It's Comet the Superman.
That's saying a lot.
I know. Because it was in
in
Supergirl, and that stuff gets even more crazy sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not. But is it Jimmy Olsen crazy?
We'll get into some Jimmy Olsen soon enough, and we'll decide.
I can't wait. All right, so Jubal and Sundance Kid's fighting, and Sundance knocks him into the
wheel of the boat,
the paddle wheel,
and kills a guy.
Yeah, he falls through the rail. So Sundance didn't mean to kill him, but he killed him anyway. Which is kind of the code of these is that you can't really kill somebody. They can accidentally die, but you indirectly kill them.
Yeah, and this isn't a reprint. It's like this is a new story in 71 or 2 here. So
yeah, so they win. So that's the end of it.
And Sundance and Dollar come out pals, I guess, or something.
And then they separate.
Yeah, of course. The first of several backup stories in here is The Doom Trail, reprinted from Kit Carson, number 5. No credit on the writer, but penciled by penciled and inked by Carmine Infantino. And this is his Golden Age style, his 50s style, that's still very much emulating Milton Caniff.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Kit Carson actually really existed.
Yeah.
Supposedly, if I'm mistaken, I think that he was kind of a small, slight guy, but just really good tracker and very dangerous to know.
Sure.
He got him mad, but all right. So there's this Doom Trail that people who go down the trail die.
Right.
And people keep going down the trail and they keep dying.
And
somebody's making it look like Indians did it.
Right, but they're really these trappers that want to clear out their competition. So they're killing white guys and trying to blame the Indians on it. And then they can get more, animals to trap and stuff.
Did you see the advertisement for Barnabas Collins?
I did. You want to talk about it? It's these life-size Barnabas Collins posters from that great TV show, Dark Shadows, of which I have a couple of box sets on DVD. It's really great.
What an interesting idea to have a vampire soap opera.
Oh, it's wonderful. And technically it's because it only ran, quote unquote, only ran like 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
As far as soap operas go, that's really not very successful because
No.
usually they run like decades.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Guiding Light ran from like the 30s, starting as a radio program, and I don't know if it's still around now, but you know,
Yeah, I remember. Oh, General Hospital was super hip among the college crowd, and
yeah.
I thought it was boring.
Right.
I really never could get into.
Was General the Hospital one that Rick Springfield kind of sprung from?
I'm not sure. But I had Luke and Laura.
Okay.
Was that?
I don't know. I never really followed it.
No, neither did
I
I.
remember some of those nighttime soaps like Falcon Crest, late
Those
80s.
are kind of cool. So
Those are a little better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I could watch them. Dynasty and Dallas, and
Yeah.
J.R. Ewing was a great villain, and
Yeah.
that's cool. And oh, in Dynasty, the woman was a great villainess. Joan Collins,
Yeah.
and Star Trek, one of the greatest Star Trek episodes. She's in.
Yeah. You're right.
City on the Edge of Forever.
Oh my gosh. Written by Harlan Ellison.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
Tweet-
cussed me out.
Harlan Ellison cussed
He
you out?
did. Yeah.
Oh, I've got to hear this because I'm always talking about what an asshole Harlan Ellison is, and everyone does because he is. I've got to hear this story.
I was with some buddies, and we had 2 phones set up in the house. And so he has his phone number out. So we called him up, and I forgot we were going to ask him. I didn't know, and I like Harlan Nelson's work, but
He's a great writer, but a complete douchebag.
but he answered, and we froze. We couldn't say anything. He says, "Damn it, I have a right to my privacy."
Oh my gosh.
One of my friends called him back and talked to them. So.
Oh my gosh.
But
I was just reading another story of Harlan Ellison just being awful to people, like in a comics fanzine. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And you'll get stories like this constantly about this man. Just the most irascible, person to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and he introduced the famous Shatner song, "Rocket Man."
Did he?
Yeah. And if you ever watch the video, it's Harlan Ellison introducing him.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Well, that's wild.
so tens of millions of people who saw him don't know who he is. But,
That's funny. It's been so long since I've seen that, but
the Total Recall is based on one of his. I think it.
no, it's not. That's a Philip K. That's Philip K. Dick.
It's
Terminator.
Terminator. Yeah.
Well, sort of. Terminator is kind of based on like some scripts he wrote for, like a short story he did, and also a script he wrote for The Outer Limits.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, that's ripping off my idea, and so he was going to sue Paramount or whatever studio it was, and so they kind of appeased him by like giving him some kind of credit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Special thanks to Harlan Ellison for being such a groovy guy or something crap like that. But yeah.
Okay, good writer.
Oh yeah, he's a great writer, but what a nasty man.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Kit Carson?
All right, so Kit gets a posse together, and they come up there. Everyone's got a single-shot rifle, which is kind of cool because it's in this time people had muzzle loaders.
Sure.
It took I don't know. You could a rifle usually took about a minute to load.
Yeah.
You can imagine being shot at trying to reload something like that.
Right. That's why you have a posse together.
Yeah. So they get bushwhacked.
He and his native friend, right?
No, he hasn't got a native friend yet.
Oh, okay.
His buddies get shot and they start dying. So he goes back to go help, and then he notices this Indian kid all damaged. So he goes and saves him. And then the Indian chief comes by. Oh, you saved my son, so we will help you. So he goes back and gets.
That's a great impression.
Yeah. Oh.
Of an Indian stereotype.
Yeah. No, that's how they talk. No.
We all know you're kidding. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. So he goes back and gets ammo. Of course, the Indians don't have ammo and food. So, and the townsfolk say, don't do it. But he comes back. The Indians know a way to get there. It's on skis, which no one's ever heard of before. Right. I guess they could have. I know they invented snowshoes, so I guess
sure
they could have invented skis. So they they fight and they win. So,
So
they
Kit
come
Carson.
back and fight. And his Indian friend.
So the bad trappers get caught, and
Yeah.
Kit Carson saves his friends who were pinned down by the
Mhm.
trappers, and everything's cool.
Yeah, kill somebody with a knife is kind of cool. So
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that, but
No.
but it's a great panel.
yeah, it's okay. Very golden agey looking.
Yeah, so the 50s, the post-war years, the Western really emerged as a major genre in comics. So,
And same time as doing it in movies and TV.
oh yeah, so
There's about 10
and this stuff's
westerns on at one time.
sure, and this stuff's pretty cool, and it doesn't get talked about. That's why I want to talk about westerns and romance comics also.
Mhm.
So, but our
That's
next
important.
it is our next story is called The Trap of Terror. It's reprinted from Jesse James, number 4. All these reprints, I think, are from Avon Comics from the 50s. And no credit on the writing, but penciled by Mo Marcus and inked by Rock Mastroserio. And both of these guys would do plenty of work at Charlton, as I recall. I know Rock Mastroserio did.
Yeah, well done drawings.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's another, hey, take an outlaw and make them sort of into a hero. They do that a lot in these westerns.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Brady Bunch about that?
No.
I forgot which the youngest son was really into Jesse James.
And
was
Bobby?
getting really, Bobby, I think.
Is it Bobby Brady? Okay.
And was getting to be annoying, and he'd take his toy guns to school, and people, and so his father's brings this really old guy, and you see him, he's this character player who played old guys for about 50 years.
Sure.
And he says, my father was killed by Jesse James. He was a cold shot in the back. And then,
Whoa.
So Bobby doesn't like Jesse James anymore. I'll always remember that. But
That's wild. And where did Dad just find the guy whose father was killed by Jesse James?
Yeah, it's Brady, man. He's got superpowers. But the thing
was
was,
Greg Brady? Greg Brady was the oldest son.
No. What was what's his father's name?
I can't remember. Dad Brady. I can't remember.
Mr. Brady.
Mr. Brady. I can't remember
I
either.
thought it was. Could be Greg Senior. No, I guess not.
I don't know. It's probably not that important.
No.
But your anecdote was good.
Yeah, but it is a deal. Heroes being, Robin Hood was, and there's always, I guess it's also with the lost cause and people like.
Well, I mean, we always do this, and this is something that's ever present in our fiction. I mean, the Punisher he's a murderer, but we make him a hero.
Well, he's murdering bad guys, right?
Right, but he's still a criminal. He's still an outlaw. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Spider-Man's a criminal.
Well, yeah, but Spider-Man
Jameson
doesn't kill people.
Yeah.
There's the
evil Spider-Man does. No.
The evil Spider-Man. That's great. But no, I mean, there's the superhero working with the law. They kind of get the pass, okay, usually.
Yeah.
But when you're they cross the line and they're killing guys and stuff, there's a Punisher is a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Yeah.
What's up with Jesse James?
All right. Yeah, his brothers, Frank James and Cole Younger, and Cole Younger is his buddy of his.
Right.
They go to Carson City, and they start gambling and lose about $3,000 to shady gambler.
Mm-hmm.
So the gambler's in cahoots with this other guy.
Right, and they want to get some fall guys to, they were hey, team up with us on this robbery and we'll call it even.
Yeah.
But then they want them to be the fall guys.
Which is an odd thing to do.
I thought this was a clever plot. I thought that was cool.
I don't know. I thought it was too convoluted. Plots should be simple. Because if they get complicated, things go wrong. Which it does.
Well, right. Something has to go wrong.
Or the good guys lose. So,
right.
Yeah, it's interesting. So they rob the bank, and one of the real bad guys shoots a teller, and then they shoot some townspeople leaving. Okay, another digression. Northfield raid done by the James Boys. When in the movies and the comics, the townspeople are always scared. Oh, we're not going to do anything. Don't hurt us on us. But when when robbers come to a real town, they get their shot. They get their butts shot up.
Right.
And back then, it wasn't really that lawless. I think probably Chicago has more people being murdered than the Old West had in 100 years. It's
Sure.
really only about 3 to 6 people getting killed a year.
Right, but we romanticize this period and we exaggerate all the stuff that happened because it's a frontier-y kind of thing. It's, yeah, there was law, but it was kind of like you could probably get away with a murder by skipping town. And that's so weird now, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Oh, it depends on your town. My town, my hood, man, was rough.
Oh.
So, all right. So, Jesse, okay, they're chased by a posse. Jesse leads the posse off, loses his horse, gets another horse, saves his horse from wolves by killing him. And
Yeah, he blows away these wolves. It's pretty wild.
then he comes back and finds out where the people are. So the real bad guys have hold Frank and Cole Younger hostage, and they're going to figure out some way to tell. This is the complicated part.
Okay.
They're going to tell. They're going to blame them for the robbery and then get away scot-free. How are you going to do that without these guys telling what happened?
Kill him?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that doesn't really work. Okay. You
'Cause
notice how Jesse James looks like James Arness?
Ooh, yes, he does.
Yeah. So, anyway.
So they have a good big fight, and Jesse James wins. And they pay off the gambling debt. They leave it with the guys. They tie up the bad guys, leave the gambling debt they got from the bank, and take the rest of the money and go home and go somewhere. That is, it kind of shocked me. You know, usually, we'll get the money back, but hey, it's our money. Let's go.
Yeah, well, they are outlaws.
Yeah.
The James gang, they're outlaws. So,
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Our next story, and I was reading this, it's Wild Bill Hickok and the Silver Mine Outlaws from Wild Bill Hickok, number 5. The art, penciled by Howard Larson, inked by Bill Everett, of the creator of Submariner.
Oh.
Now, I read somewhere that he re-inked this for the he just inked it for the reprint. So what must have happened is Skywald got the original artwork with just the pencils, not the inked finished version, and probably called on Everett to ink it. I don't know who inked the original.
Well, yeah, it's very Golden Agey, and sometimes I like Golden Age, but this is quite well done.
But Howard Larson, I remember reading. I think I've seen this guy's art before. In fact, I think he did like a story that I read for EC Comics. I don't think he did a lot of work for them, but I remember like a crime story or something. It was like, I know this guy's art. It's so familiar to me. So,
cool.
Yeah. What's going on with Wild Bill?
Wild Bill is in this town that they have these wagon trains coming in with supplies and stuff, and they keep getting robbed by this. Okay. Oh, Sulphur John Evans.
Oh my gosh, why is he called Sulphur John?
I don't know. But he's got he scowls. He's got a villain mustache.
Yeah,
so he's got to be bad.
Right.
Wild Bill has this flowing lock of hair, which is kind of odd to see in this time period. It's really, this is Wild Bill Hickok had a long hair.
Right, but usually when you see in these someone with quote unquote long hair in these, it's just like barely like below the ears. It's not real long. But this is like 80s heavy metal long.
Yep.
He's got real long hair, so.
So he tries to figure out what to do. So he goes out and he says, "Oh, here's a guy coming. Oh, it's not a guy, it's a mirage." And then he explains what a mirage is, and that's like he's like Google or something.
Like what are we? What is this? Mark Trail we're reading?
Right. The upper bending air is cool bending. The light waves down. Light waves down here on the heated air off this. the sun-baked rock. Oh man!
It's like,
then
did
they
you
have
get
another
this straight out of the encyclopedia? Like, yeah, okay, so
All right. Well, he's a smart guy, I guess. So,
apparently,
he sets up his own mirage, which is almost I don't think you can do that.
yeah, I was like, what? I read this, I was like, that doesn't seem like it would work at all.
Yeah.
Because it's such a random occurring thing.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the atmosphere's got to be exactly correct to get that.
Yeah.
And everyone's seen mirages.
And don't you have to? Oh, the haze. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it looks like water on it. Some of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't you need to be like? I always see like cartoons or things, movies where people see a mirage. It's because they're like dehydrated and thirsty and stuff, and they're wandering through the desert.
I think you'd be well rested, drinking a beer, sitting in the shade, and still see it in the desert.
Okay. So anyway, he tricks these bad guys with a mirage.
Yeah. And then they burn down the forest, and he gets the wagons through the water, and then he comes and surprises the guys because they expect the wagons to be all dead, or the wagoneer is supposed to be dead, and then here comes Bob Bill Hickok and he surprises them and shoots them all down. And
okay.
So, the end.
Yeah. So our last story for today is called Three Famous Bad Men. It's reprinted from Red Mask, number 48, written by Gardner Fox, who's one of the great comic book writers of all time, and with art by Frank Boll. And this is a cool story. Red Mask is kind of a Western hero. He, wears a red mask.
Really? I've never heard him before, but I know he wore a red mask.
I've got a pile of like Western comic reprints, and they like every issue, like it's called Best of the West, and there's like every issue has got like a Red Mask story. It's cool stuff.
This is really well done. All right, we have the box,
the panel,
and then the panel, and people are hanging out of the panel. And you would
see this a lot in like EC comics. This is a 50s kind of thing that came about. As comics were really kind of evolving and advancing, the first half of the 50s, you would get stuff like this, and it was really a high mark for the medium. I think one of them. Yeah,
it looks really cool, really well done, and well drawn. Everything.
Yeah. So what's going on with Red Mask in the story?
Apparently, Jesse James, Billy the Kid, and Sam Bass.
I never heard of Sam Bass.
He's one of them, but I don't know much about him. I guess they never made a movie about him. So
I guess not.
We don't know about him.
But anyway, they're committing robberies in cahoots and stuff.
Yeah.
Or they all have hit this town that Red Mask is in.
Right. And so the Red Mask lays a trap for them.
Yeah.
And here comes, I guess, which one is this? I guess it's Sam Bass.
Yeah.
So he punches him out, but the guy, Sam Bass, escapes.
Right.
Red Mask notices that there is some little smudge. He says, aha, it's actor's grease or something.
Right.
So, and this
guy he knows something is afoot.
Also, the kid is left-handed, and this guy is not.
Right. So he realizes they're all fakes, but they're just kind of using their reputation of these, or it's the one guy using the reputation of these outlaws to scare people. And he catches up with him as he tries to skip town.
Yeah.
Because he thought no one was going to suspect him, and pretty good plan.
Yeah.
I would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for you darn kids.
Yeah, and he Red Mask put ink on the back of his neck.
Right, so in a fight. And he purposely let him get away so that he could catch him and prove it. I like that. In the very last panel, we see like a girl with a mask who is like sort of a female assistant to Red Mask. But she wasn't in this story at all until just now.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I wonder if she was in the original script and just kind of like written out.
Or it's Red Mask is a recurring character. She does more in something else.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that is the case. So yeah, that's really our books for today. So.
And what do we have for next week?
Oh, that's right. Let's look at our stuff for next week. I was like, how are we going to sign off awkwardly? Oh wait, let's look at the next.
That's all we know how to do. Is awkward,
right? So we're gonna have our another look at Charlton.
That's Korg. Okay.
Yes, we've got. Excuse me, I'll take that's Korg 70,000 BC number 5.
Yeah. Reptilicus.
That's right.
Which is a movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one too. Reptilicus number 1, and here's an odd little tidbit I'll share. I'll explain the story when we talk about it in detail, but after 2 issues they changed it to Reptosaurus and changed his color and kind of made him kind of different. So we have also Reptosaurus numbers 5 and 6.
Okay. And Sarge Steele's special agent.
Yeah, Sarge Steele number 7.
Yeah. Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt.
Yes, Peter Cannon Thunderbolts number 54 and 56.
Yeah, okay. And then...
and we have Yang, number 10.
Oh, okay. And this is a romance comic.
It's not.
it's Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
I don't know. Did I learn anything? I guess we did.
Did you?
Westerns are interesting. Romance. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But always marry the one you love.
Yeah. That was actually last episode. Remember we talked about romance the episode before?
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but it must have stuck with you.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Hope this sticks with you and you stick with us and feelings and stuff. Okay, bye.